Welcome to Sydney's Pittwater aboard the RAND 27 Supreme. This is the first RAND boat to arrive in Australia that is all electric. Let's take a look round. So this RAND 27 is your Café Cruiser Sydney harbour day boat. And their use of the space is very clever. You have this large sunbed at the back, seating for probably 7, 8 in the cockpit area, and additional seating up front. Just in terms of the actual space you have aboard, easily 3 people here. This converts back, so it's a headrest, and I can be lying 3 people along the back. Just in terms of features at the back of the boat here, this is your little panel to charge up the boat when you're back on shore power. Aft cleats either side, and this beautiful flexi teak on board. It's very easy to maintain this boat. It's gel coat, flexi teak, and a touch of wood that can be covered when you get off the boat. And moving around the boat, aft cleats on the port side, you have these beautiful little downlights dotted around the boat. And of an evening in dusk, when you have those on, it really illuminates the space. Back here, transom shower, and these are your fender clips. 1, 2, 3 up either side of the boat to tie your fenders to. But just to show you, very simple rollback to turn this into a headrest and lounging for 3 at the back here. Turn it back the other way. Seating for 1, 2, 3 in the corner, 4, 5. And the driver's seat backrest goes forward, allowing seating for 2 more people. From this position, I'm just looking at a few other features of this boat. Speakers dotted throughout, ample cup holders. The table's quite a nice size, picnic style. And just down here, easy access to the waste and water. So as well as the ample seating on board, all of this underneath doubles up as storage. And we've got this beautiful wet bar on the left-hand side. Teak top, nicely finished. Fridge and storage below here and under the sink. Operating sink. And as we move further forward, we'll take a look at the toilet. Access through here to your toilet on board. For this size of boat, being a 27, this actually isn't too bad a size. Good head height, and you can close the door quite easily. It's worth saying that all of this upholstery is Silvertex, and they've done this beautiful diamond hand stitch in it. It's very hard wearing and it's very comfortable, nice and thick. Just down to my right here, there's an additional fridge on board. That's probably best for your food fridge. Food and drink on a 27-foot boat, it's pretty good. Opening the forward gate and moving forward. Lounge here and a seat for 1 on the other side. As I'm sat here, it's really ergonomically done, so someone would be lounging up at the front here. I can talk to whoever's at the helm seat and back through there, through the gap. I've got cup holders, 2 here, 2 on the other side. It's a really nice space to be. All the detailing on board, you can see there's drains dotted throughout. Even the finishing is a beautiful stainless with the RAND logo inside it. It's really nicely done. Just forward of me is your anchor locker. Now, like all RAND boats, this is set up with a C-zone system, so most of the electronics on board, they're actually done off of your Simrad display, which is very cool. This means you don't have all of those buttons across the dash, and we'll take you through the dash next. But up here, manual anchor controls, and this pushes out on 2 gas struts, so it's pulled right into the boat right now, and it extends forward before dropping down. So now we're back at the dash, let's go through a few of the features here, or lack of features as it were. RAND like to keep it very simple, and it's very cool. Beautiful insert here, carbon. Fusion head unit here to control your stereo, Bluetooth, however you want to do it. Just here is your zip weight. There's 2 interceptors that come down at the back of the boat. If you're doing water sports or something like that, then you can control the wave. If not, you can control the bow of the boat a little bit as well. But you also have trim on the engine if you want to trim it that way. 2 6-inch Simrad displays. And RAND, because they have all this C-zone system, they've created their own interface in here that has all of your control switching, anchor switch, nav lights, everything like that. Just being sat here, but it's a really nice helm position. I'm currently sat on the bolster. If I move this down, perfectly through the windscreen. There's not too much rise on this boat when you take it up onto the plane, and you can always see the horizon, but I'm either here below the top of the windscreen, or I'm on the bolster and I'm looking out above it. A couple more features just here. There's a bow thruster on board this vessel. Here's my trim for the engine, controlling that bow. and this is your throttle. So this all-electric RAND has a 265 kilowatt e-drive engine, which is proprietary to RAND, as well as 117.5 kilowatts of lithium battery on board to run it. Let's open up and have a look. So just looking in this electric engine bay, it's very unique. It's not something we've seen in this market too much. But what we essentially have is we have the e-drive motor just below me here. Back there in the black boxes, you have the 170.5 kilowatts lithium bank that propels this boat up to about 30 knots. This runs through a drive that then connects to a traditional Mercury stern drive. All the steering is your typical tie rod system. And there's not really too much to do in this area. It's nice to have a look, know what we're dealing with, but otherwise, we're going to take her for a run shortly and we'll show you how she goes. So we're going to take her for a quick spin now. If we look at the way that you'd use this boat, the way you'd step on board it at the start of the day, really, you unplug her. I've just turned on the battery switches here, which is all the batteries on board the vessel. Traditional key turn here, one click to the right, and down on my throttle there's an orange button. I press select on there, and now the e-drive is engaged. All I need to do now is put the boat in forward or reverse and it will be engaged. So now we're underway heading out of our anchorage. I can tell you that this boat started the day out on 80%. Now we've had a little bit of a play on the way over to here. She's now probably about an hour and 20 minutes. She's now sitting at about 63%. I've got the boat just in forward idle speed, and currently I'm getting a readout that I have a range at this speed of 90 nautical miles with 63% left in the battery, and that's about a 40-hour runtime at this speed. We'll just start taking her up through some different speeds for you and give you these readouts. Essentially, these electric boats, they are harbour day boats. Depending on the speed that you want to go, you could get 10 hours out on the water, you could get 4 hours on the water. If you wanted to go this speed at 100%, you could get roughly 60 hours out on the water. So I've just taken the boat up to 6 knots. Now I'm getting a readout that this boat will do 100 nautical miles. We still have 63% charge, and it will run for 12 hours at this speed. We'll take her up a bit quicker now. Just sat off the plane, about 14 knots. Pull it back a little bit. Let it settle. At this speed, which is a good speed to be around on the harbour, we're reading 35 to 40 nautical miles, and that's about a 2.5 hour time until flat. I think a lot of the worry about when we're talking about transitioning traditional combustion engines into electric is that the question that's first asked is, what happens when I run out of fuel? With these readouts, you can work out when you're going to run out of power. It's just the same as having a fuel tank on board with a dial, probably slightly more accurate. I'm going to take her just up onto the plane now. Okay, we're now sat at 20 knots. This is a nice speed for this boat. She likes it. I've got good visibility. At this speed, we've got a 14 nautical mile range. In these enclosed harbours that we're lucky enough to have in Sydney Harbour, generally you're running at your faster speeds for 10-15 minutes, then you're anchoring for the day, and then you're having lunch, and then you're heading off to another bay, maybe go for a swim. So the time you're actually running at this speed during the day, from my experience, can be, you know, anywhere from half an hour to 45 minutes. When you've got the readout, you know what you can do, so it's really not an issue. I'm now going to just take her up to top speed and we'll see what she's reading. So there we go, we're now at 29 knots. This is about the speed she wants to go in top revs. At this speed, I've got 11 nautical miles. Now just remember, I started out at 63% battery time. So if it was 100% and about 20 nautical miles. We have a graph that we might pop up on the screen to show you the actual performance of this vessel. The last thing I like to do is just pop her in some turns and see how she handles. So we're just going to do that. Really nice. I've got it hard over. We're not losing much speed. We went into that at 29 knots. We're still at 26 knots. And it's really quite a tight turn. Back the other way. Through a little bit of wash. She's not really thudding the water going back through our own wash. She's nice and cushioned. It's a really comfortable ride. Coming out of the turn now, 26. And we're already digging back in 27, 28 and 29. I have to say, for days and half days out on the harbour, coming in, if you had access to a fast charger, you could charge this boat back up in 4 hours. But going out for half a day at the weekends, leaving it on charge, you know, regular house power for 24 to 48 hours, she's ready to go again. It's a really great option. The other thing to consider is it's not just about the boat being electric. You have to consider other environmental factors. When you're looking at internal combustion engines, you have to refuel the boat, and you also have oils and you have noise. This boat, there is a whirring, but it's not as loud as a petrol or diesel engine would be. And when I'm refueling, it's direct power. I'm not accidentally spilling a bit of fuel into our waterways. Then add to that, the only fluid you have in this system is in the mercury drive, so no engine oil used. It's a really sustainable and environmentally friendly way of boating. We're not expecting it to take over completely, but if you're looking for that day boat for one day on the weekends and you're not too interested in going out on the harbour, you want loads of lounging space, you want lots of fridge space, it's a very good choice. So we're just about to head back into the marina at Church Point. Before we do, I would say we've been out here an hour and 50 minutes. We've thrown the boat around a little bit. We've gone up to top speed, we've idled. I've actually kept the engine on the whole time we've been doing the walkthrough, or the engine power. And we left on 79%. We're now heading back in at 47%. So 2 hours of fun. It's cost us about 30% charge on this boat. Thank you for joining us today on the walkthrough of the RAND Supreme 27. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you again soon.